What's going on YouTube and quarterback fans everywhere? Chris Pearson here again for the second installment of the ongoing new web series for me, the Jaguars Quarterback Quest, where we try to not only find, but help the Jacksonville Jaguars in their search for a new starting quarterback, scouting the quarterbacks in the upcoming NFL draft. First off, I want to say I appreciate your patience on this video. I've been really kind of busy the last few days, and I was going to do the research last night, and it took a little longer than I thought because I had to really find some clips of these guys, especially the first guy I'm going to be talking about in this video. So I had a lot of things to break down and scout and look at. So and I put updates on my channel, as you guys have probably seen. So but I think I finally got enough information to really look at these guys and determine, their pros and cons and what's best for them for their draft stock going forward. Now, as we go on, again, if you guys don't know, this is your first time watching these videos, we are going like straight down the draft board. Basically, we're just going from top to bottom. The first video that I did a couple weeks ago, and again, thank you for all the views on the first video, by the way. I can't say that enough. We profiled the first four: Teddy Bridgewater, Blake Bortles, Johnny Manziel, Derek Carr. These names you'll probably hear a lot leading up to the draft. But now we are looking at the four we're looking at in this video. We are looking at three SEC quarterbacks and one very under-the-radar quarterback that I gotta say, when I watched his game film, I was actually quite impressed with. So in this video, we are looking at Jimmy Garoppolo out of Eastern Illinois, Zach Mettenberger from LSU, A.J. McCarron from Alabama, and Aaron Murray from Georgia. So we'll just get right into it here because I know you guys have been waiting a little bit for this video. So let's get right into it. Starting with Jimmy Garoppolo out of Eastern Illinois. This is a school where the level of competition isn't as high because they're playing in the FCS. But I tell you what, some FCS teams this past season were very, very good. And I don't know if you guys remember, in week 1 of the college football season, 8, including Eastern Illinois, beat their FBS big boy competition. So it goes to show that these FCS teams can actually really play well when they have a good nucleus of talent around them and can make plays happen. So now with Garoppolo, I did analyze their first game. I analyzed their big win over San Diego State in the opener, the 40-19 win, and another game where they just manhandled Illinois State, winning 57-24. Eastern Illinois was one of the top teams in the FCS this season. I think they made it either to the quarters or the semifinals of the FCS tourney. But a very, very good team, and certainly entertaining to watch on the offensive side of the ball. So pros for Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, he has just this beautiful deep ball. I mean, like numerous times when I watched these games from him, he was just making these, like, he was like pinpoint accuracy on the deep ball throw. And if you guys remember, in the first 4 quarterbacks that we saw, a lot of those guys weren't really proficient on their deep balls. They were more known for their screen plays and their dink and dunks, like Bridgewater, Manziel, although he occasionally can do the deep ball, like Bortles. These guys that I saw were more proficient in the deep ball than I have seen so far at any quarterback. So, but he does have a very similar pocket presence to Johnny Manziel. He's very fluid. He's very patient in the pocket. He doesn't make a whole lot of movements. He's mostly stationary. He doesn't do a lot of throwing on the run. He mostly just stays where he's at when given time to throw. He usually stays in there and just makes the play right away. He's very quick. He quickly makes throws out of the pocket. Usually it was just a 2-step drop, and then bam, he found the open guy. So very quick release. And a lot of people are going to be talking about that when it comes to him. It was just boom, boom, boom. Every single time I see a pass from him, it was just like pinpoint. It was just always there, throwing darts. Said the term throwing darts, throwing lasers. That's what they were, and he was able to make the play every single time. Going along with that, with making those quick throws, he's a quick decision maker. He doesn't waste any time. He knows exactly where his receivers are supposed to be on the field. He knows where they're supposed to be at, and he knows where to go to every single time. So he's very aware of the field. Some of these guys that I watched in these videos this week had very good field vision, and Garoppolo is no exception. He certainly has a way of scanning the field to really see things out. I mentioned his deep ball. He also has he also can throw a very good fade route when it comes to the red zone. A couple times, like maybe 2 or 3 times in these videos, and when it got down to the red zone, he just throws this beautiful fade, and the guy was able to make the catch usually every single time. So he's definitely a specialist when it comes to the fade route as well. He's very aware of blitzes. A couple times when they tried to blitz and put pressure on him on Eastern Illinois, he recognized that right away, and he's not afraid to take shots. He can make plays in the face of that pressure. We've seen a couple quarterbacks that can do that don't quit on the play, like Manziel, like Bridgewater. And so he's very similar in that regard, that he just doesn't, he wants to find a way to make a play every single time, even when the blitz comes at him. He sells the play fake very well, and that's something I've seen also in a lot of these quarterbacks. If you're able to really confuse the defense and go right to that play action and sell that play fake well, that's a big key to have. And like I mentioned, his field vision is excellent. It's one of his high qualities. I would say he's very aware of what's going on out there on the field. So I'd say field vision, the deep ball, his fade route, patience. All these things make Jimmy Garoppolo a very, he's under the radar, but certainly not a player that can be ignored on draft boards. Now the downside with him, though, I didn't see one play where Garoppolo even attempted to run. He didn't throw on the run. He didn't run out of pressure. And sometimes, and now with the competition's going to be in the NFL, I think he's going to have to sort of develop a running style that's going to fit him, because certain times in the NFL he's going to be chased out of that pocket. He's not going to be comfortable all the time with the competition that he's facing in the NFL. So I think he needs to really develop that a running ability a little bit. I mentioned the competition. Being in the FCS, while it is still college, it's not the level of talent that you're going to see in the NFL. So a lot's going to change. The coverage is going to be tighter. There's going to be more pressure coming his way. So he's really got to adapt and adjust to the level of competition. And again, with the screens, with the shorter passes, he also needs to develop some kind of screen pass in his repertoire, because everything I saw mostly was the deep ball, the fade, everything that he threw out there. He's got to get more comfortable, because not always, the deep ball isn't always going to be there when there's either single man coverage or double coverage on one guy. He needs to get more comfortable with throwing the screen when that play is available. So not a whole lot to dislike about Garoppolo, but certainly a few things that he'll have to work on in order to be an efficient NFL quarterback. So would he work in Jacksonville? I certainly think he could, but I don't think he would be the type that would be very popular, because again, he's not. I don't think the Jacksonville. He's not really a household name. Again, he has a lot of good things that would make that offense better. I certainly think, but again, the fact that even though he doesn't have a lot to work on, those things he does need to work on tend to happen a lot in Jacksonville. So I don't think the Jags should take a shot on Garoppolo. I certainly hope he ends up somewhere where his style will be effective, and that way he can tinker on those cons a little bit better. But again, certainly a lot to like, but the things to work on, I think, kind of outweigh the pros at this point when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo. So for the Jags' sake, I think there's better options out there. I want a team that finds him. I hope that they can utilize him in a really good way. Okay, moving on now to Zach Mettenberger from LSU. We're getting into these SEC quarterbacks, and really, when I watched these three SEC guys, I found that there was a lot of similarities because the styles of the conference is kind of similar across the board. But I saw a lot of different things as well out of these guys as well. So Mettenberger, I watched with him. I watched the game against Mississippi State, where that turned out to be a really close game. And I don't know if people expected a close game in that game, but it did turn out to be very close. I think LSU only won by like a few points. So it was a good test for Mettenberger in that game. So the pros for Zach Mettenberger. By the way, let me give you their dynamics here. Garoppolo is 6'2", 219. Mettenberger is 6'5", 235. So he certainly has the size and the strength of a very very tough quarterback. He also has very good pocket presence, and again, kind of like Garoppolo and Manziel, he stays in the pocket a lot of the time, at least from what I saw in this game. He stayed in a lot, but when there's those play action situations, he can tend to throw on the run if the blitz comes from the outside. So that's what Garoppolo lacks, and certainly it's what Manziel has, and even Teddy Bridgewater. So he has those similar qualities there. I saw at least 2 times where he was able to make very good throws on the run when he was pressured. So at least he has that ability in his playbook. He can make any throw. I was so impressed with Mettenberger's throwing resume. And deadly accurate. I mean, there was hardly a time where he doesn't really underthrow guys. If anything, sometimes he overthrows guys, but he does not underthrow guys. When he is accurate, he will make it right on every single time, whether it's a screen, whether it's up the middle, whether it's deep. He finds a way to make those plays happen, and I was just so impressed watching how accurate Zach Mettenberger was on film. So just deadly accurate. Like Garoppolo, he does also have a very good fade route as well. At least once or twice I saw that in action. So again, I mean, if you have that in your resume, it's a good thing to have because. And for the receiver, that's not usually an easy ball to catch, especially if it's man-to-man coverage. But if you can make it happen, if you can put it right where it needs to be, then that receiver can go and get it. So just really good stuff there. He's also got a very quick release. I think I saw that pretty much in all 4 of these quarterbacks. These are 4 quick trigger gunslinger guys. They quickly get the ball out of there. They don't hesitate. They don't stand for too long and scan the field. They know exactly where to go. So I found that similarity in all 4 of these quarterbacks. He's very confident in his passing. He's able to find the open guys. Again, he's like Garoppolo in the fact that he can scan the field and know exactly where his guys need to be. He's very confident in that, and I was very impressed with that. But there's a couple things that I did see also that were not so good that he needs to work on. Now, as a whole, the durability issue. As we saw it a couple times this season, and especially last season as well, he's been hampered by knee injuries throughout his career. And when you're a quarterback that is also known somewhat for your running ability, you've got to find a way to overcome that. Now, certainly, when he was healthy enough, he was able to run very well. He was even playing with a brace on his knee for most of last year, but then I think either he re-injured that same knee or injured the other one this past season. So he's got to really work on that and rehabbing and getting back to full health. It's just a question of with any player that's injured, usually the first thing on their con is durability. Will they hold up in the rigors of the NFL? Again, similar to Garoppolo, he really doesn't have he doesn't really run on his own. I didn't see one play where he ran on his own. That's not to say he doesn't have, because as I saw, he can throw on the run. But I didn't really see much of him doing a running thing on his own, and that might have to do with the fact that he was he still had the knee issues. But he didn't really have any on his own that stood out to me. So that might be something when he gets to full health he can utilize more in his playbook as well. Now, unlike Garoppolo, he really fails to recognize where the pressure is at. He kind of wilts in the face of that pressure. I saw at least 2 times where he didn't try to fake out the blitz, or he didn't, he just went down. He didn't do anything to evade them. When the blitz is strong, he can't really make the play. He does tend to give up on the plays when the pressure and the blitz is too much for him. So he needs to really find ways to really shake things up a bit and keep plays alive and keep plays going sometimes, or unless he can throw the ball away when and not take the sack when the blitz is too tight. He'll have to add that to his resume and learn that more in the NFL. There was at least one time where he was really pressured and making a very poor decision, and he threw a pick. So that's something that definitely needs to be worked on as well. If you're if sometimes you try too hard in the face of the pressure to make plays, and again, you sometimes just need to throw it away. So he needs to learn to make smarter decisions a bit and not make that as much. And as I mentioned, he does have a tendency. There were a couple times where he just tended to overthrow his receivers, not by much, but just a little bit, either behind him or he overthrew him. So he can work on things a little bit when it comes to the deep ball sometimes with his receivers. So overall, with Mettenberger, again, he does have his accuracy is strong, his release is quick, very confident in himself. But again, I think here the big question with him is going to be the durability. How is he going to handle the pressure in the NFL? Is he going to develop that running ability? That's the big questions I have with Mettenberger. Now, certainly any of these SEC quarterbacks are going to be popular in Jacksonville because of the fact that that's the area that they're from, and they need someone that is used to winning, which the SEC is definitely used to being a winning conference. But for me, again, I don't know if Jacksonville right now doesn't have a really short style receiver. They do have a lot of deep threat guys, and Mettenberger does have that, but again, if they're going to want to take him, they're going to really shore up that offensive line because, again, when it comes to the pressure, Mettenberger doesn't find a way to make plays in the face of that. So, so it's certainly something that they're going to have to look at there if they take that chance. But personally, I wouldn't. But Mettenberger's going to have to end up if he ends up on a team, he's just going to end up somewhere where where he can have time to throw, have a good offensive line, and some very good receivers as well. All right, moving on to AJ McCarron of Alabama. Oh, you want to talk about a proven winner. You want to talk about a guy who just seems to, again, make a lot of plays when there's nothing there. That's what I saw with AJ McCarron, and I watched his game when they played Johnny Manziel and Texas A&M, and which was an entertaining game to watch live as well. But I found a lot of good things to like about AJ McCarron. And again, a lot of similar stuff to the quarterbacks we've already talked about. Quick decision maker, quick throws, very fluid. I felt like he had, of all the quarterbacks, he had like a really trigger-like release, like just one and done, just one pump, boom, just out there every single time. It was just so quick and so fluid. Excuse me. Just very fluid with his release, making those throws and knowing exactly where his receivers were at. So his ability to scan the field, his field vision like Garoppolo, excellent. He knows where to find those open guys and making those quick throws. Like I mentioned, the fact that he's a proven winner. I mean, hello, and you won 2 national championships in your college years. You're used to winning. And it kind of grows on you. You're just so used to being a winner every time. I think he's definitely got that leader ability. I think he's certainly one that's going to be looked upon as being a leader on the team once he gets a couple of years on him in the NFL. Now, one thing that makes him stand out, and you'll also see this when I talk about Aaron Murray. he is able to recognize coverages, and he takes advantage of mismatches. And a lot of quarterbacks nowadays, very few I've seen on here able to do that. But McCarron, at least a couple times, was able to immediately see what was going on. There was one play where there was like nobody in the middle of the field, and immediately McCarron saw that, and he quickly took advantage of it through a perfect strike up the middle for a touchdown. So he knew, he recognized what was out there. So, and he takes advantage of what the defense gives him. And he's got amazing footwork. I was just so impressed by the way his feet move, and you know, and he can also throw on the run like Zach Mettenberger. He was just so fluid in that. The couple times that I saw that work. So there's a lot to like about AJ McCarron. It's been a joy to watch him play live as well, because some of the things he does are just outstanding. So with that being said, I didn't see a whole lot of negatives with him. But the one thing is, he might need to sell that play action fake just a little bit better. He tries to make it a little too obvious at certain times. He needs to work on protecting that a little more to disguise the defense. And also there is a downside to some of his throws. When those throws are too quick, especially on screen passes, I found it can lead to either overthrown or underthrown balls. So he might want to develop something in his stance that's a little more patient, like a 3-step drop, or some movement in the pocket a little more, something that gives not only him more time but his guys more time to run their routes and make the plays in the NFL. So I really like what I saw from AJ McCarron. I was very impressed. I'm surprised that he's this low on the draft board. He's projected 3rd, 4th round. I would think someone could take a chance on him, maybe even the 2nd, because I really, really liked what I saw. And again, he's a proven winner. Makes the plays. Sees the field, footwork strong. Not a whole lot to dislike. I really like what I see in him, and I think certainly if the Jaguars don't take one early, I think certainly they could take a shot on AJ McCarron and be very impressed with what they see. So I think he could be a very good fit for them, and whoever he goes to, I think is going to get a quarterback that certainly, maybe even as a rookie, but in a couple years could be a very strong player in the NFL. All right, and then last but certainly not least, Aaron Murray of Georgia, another guy. By the way, I keep forgetting to mention these. McCarron is 6'3", 214, so he's very similar to Garoppolo in that regard. Murray is the shortest and lightest of the bunch. He's 6'1", 201. But Murray, I looked at his game against Clemson, which was another big top 10 game earlier in the year. And there was a lot of things to look at when it came to Aaron Murray. First off, in the pros and good things, he's also very similar to AJ McCarron. He makes just a few moves in the pocket, doesn't move a whole lot, and then he just guns it every single time. Now, unlike McCarron, he does sell the play fake very well. Is able to disguise it, and then go into his natural motion. He does that very, very well. Their option they ran there was just executed very well a lot of times that I saw it. But yeah, he doesn't move a whole lot, and then he's just able to put it where it needs to be. Excuse me. He does direct the traffic at the line of scrimmage, so that's similar to what we see with Bridgewater and Manziel. He's kind of like, he has that Peyton Manning vein in him. He has to see seeing what's going on out there. Now, like I mentioned, some quarterbacks are able to do that without directing the traffic. Like they have the good field vision to just scan the field and see what's out there. But others, like Murray, see something and they're like, okay, now you go here, you go here. He's able to change it up right at the line. So. So I think either are good qualities to have for quarterbacks, but when you can recognize it right then and there, I think that's the stronger thing of the two. Also, again, I mentioned this with all four of these guys, a very quick decision maker. He doesn't hesitate in his decisions. He is very, very quick on it and knows, oh my gosh, knows what to do every single time. When the pocket collapses, though, he's not afraid to run, tuck and run. I saw that at least twice. The pressure doesn't get to him. It doesn't phase him like a Mettenberger or some of these other guys that we've seen. He is just able to, one time the pressure's coming from the outside and like the sea just parted up in the middle. He just took off and went right at the middle for a big gain. So he's not afraid to do that when the pocket collapses. He is another one of these guys that just does not quit on the play. He will find a way to make a play, even in the face of, blitz or pressure. He will find a way to make something happen. So a lot of things to like here about Aaron Murray. But the downside of that, and again, he also had an injury last year. It was either knee or ankle that ended his season last year. So again, durability, injury concerns holding up is going to be a big, big thing for Aaron Murray to look at as well. Now, the only downside is, now when he is on the run and when he tries to make a throw, a lot of times, at least 2 or 3 times I saw in the video, he tends to underthrow his receivers. He needs to put it, work on that accuracy a little bit in that regard when he's on the run in order to make a play. When he throws into single coverage a couple times, he takes a lot of risks trying to beat the single coverage guys. And a lot of those times it got batted down or tipped, or almost intercepted. So he takes a lot of risk there. He's gonna have to work on that a little bit, making sure to find the open guys and not really take a whole lot of those risks, because the corners, of course, in the NFL are a lot better in that regard. Oh man, oh my nose. And then the last thing with Aaron Murray, the con, is the blind side. When it comes to pressure from the outside, he's really not aware of it because, again, he's looking up the field and he tries to scan the field too much. And, well, at least one time there was this big hit he took from behind and he never saw it coming. So that's something definitely and he's going to have to work on as well. So for Aaron Murray of Georgia, for me, there is a lot to like with him. Of course, the play fake selling, the directing the traffic, the quick decisions, not quitting on the plays. But here again, I think the cons somewhat kind of outweigh the pros. The underthrowing the receivers, that's not going to work in Jacksonville. The risk taking, the fact of the blind side, the injury stuff. I don't think it's going to work here for Jacksonville. The only one that I think out of these four could really work is McCarron of Alabama. I think he could end up doing some really nice things for the Jaguars. For everybody else, I just think they need to find a system that really works for them while at the same time being able to work on their weaknesses a little bit better to fit that team's style. So that's what I got out of all four of these guys. All right, well, that's it, guys. That's it for this video. It was a lot to take in on these four guys, but some similarities, but some differences for them to work on as well. And like I said, this has been really fun for me to really delve into these guys with these videos and look into their things. Now, next week we'll have a next week I think it'll just be this, because Tracking the Madness we already did this week as well, so that won't be up for another 2 weeks for the next bracket. So next week we will look at a lot of good guys on the list next week. A lot of these guys David Fales from San Jose State, Tajh Boyd of Clemson, Brett Smith of Wyoming, and Connor Shaw from South Carolina. So a couple more, one more SEC guy in there, but a lot of familiar names that I've seen play this past season that were really fun to watch as well. So again, thank you guys for your support, for your patience for this video. That was much appreciated as well. Again, if you like it, thumbs up the video, spread the word. view, and subscribe. And if you want to talk about these quarterbacks, leave a comment below, or other quarterbacks you were thinking about in the draft. Leave on the channel, or what you think the Jaguars should do in general. What do you think they should go for as well? Leave your comments as well, and we'll get a good debate going. Now this weekend, I won't be able to be on YouTube as much. I'm going to be out of town all weekend, going a couple basketball games this weekend, so I won't be here as much this weekend. So. But hopefully by Monday afternoon, I'll be able to check, or I might be able to check on my tablet this weekend as well. So thank you guys again for the support, and we'll see you next week when we profile 4 more quarterbacks on another edition of the Jaguars Quarterback Quest. Thanks, guys.